Body. That's a test question right there for you guys.
Not the knee.
No, not the knee, the patella.
That's all.
The patella. The patella is the largest sesamoid bone in the knee. In the body. In the body.
It's all right.
It's also the largest sesamoid in the knee.
It's
Whoa,
Hold on,
okay.
which one we on? Okay,
Hello.
knee joint.
Go back, go back. There you go.
There you go.
and it's also, the knee is also the largest joint in the body.
And how's it formed? You hit that first bullet point.
And it's formed by the femoral condyles and the tibia plateaus.
Ah, say that again. Plateaus.
Plateaus.
Ah, okay.
And then, so where are the plateaus located in this image? Can anyone point? Right?
That's Reagan, very good.
So what side is this? What side is this? What platoon? And why is that? Yeah, the fibula will always be on the lateral side of the body. So this is a great indication, just to let you know. Whenever you get an image review, and it's gonna be an X-ray like this, the best way you can tell that it's the lateral side is just by looking at the fibula.
And make note of the joint type,
I think I
guys.
have some cough drops in my
Synovial
car.
modified
You want me to go
hinge
get them?
for the knee.
No, I'm gonna try to.
And we got two names once again. I know y'all love these double
names.
names parts,
Thank you.
but it can be called the knee joint and also what, Jalen?
Femoral orbital joint.
Tibia.
Tibia is the femoral tibia joint.
Femoral orbital. So that's why it's the largest joint in the body because it connects from your eyes to your. Oh, sorry, Jay. That's okay. It kind of looks like orbital when you glance at it. It's spelled similar.
Fem orbital.
Femorotibial. Femorotibial.
And the best way to remember that it's a hinge joint, just think of a door. You know, the door has a hinge, it kind of opens like that, so the same way as a knee.
That's how your knee moves when you're doing a kick. Those of you who are going to be doing the dance competition, kicking your legs.
You hit them with the anterior crest, you know.
Okay.
Y'all vicious up here. We don't want that emulsion factor of the She's like, I'm too old, that's gonna happen to me.
And this is going on to the next slide. Does anyone know where the apex of the patella is, by any chance?
I mean,
The patella?
oh, the
Yeah, is it
patella.
right here?
No, it's showing at the head, at the bottom.
What is considered the apex?
I feel like it was like,
No,
But the apex is the
on
point, so if it's
fibula
the point,
side.
it's at the bottom.
I thought that
Oh,
was.
man, yeah, technically you can
It's
go
on the
with
fibula
that.
side.
So yeah, the apex of the patella would be right here. Looking up and
Oh,
down.
they have one.
Usually it's usually on top, but with the patella it's a little different. Just know that you can kind of help the like apex, like the tip, is at the bottom. So you know how it comes to the
Oh,
tip right
yeah,
here?
the base is on the top.
The base is on the top.
Right.
That is correct.
Okay.
If you palpate your kneecap, you can feel that apex.
I'll pick your kneecap.
You don't palpate it too hard, you'll dislocate the patella, but you know, it's fine.
The apex is on
It's
the
fine.
bottom. The base is on the top.
Anybody have any further questions on this slide? Everybody good? Yeah, mom? Alright, second slide. And so there's a lot of ligaments within the knee, it's very complicated, but most of it's self-explanatory in the name. So when you think of PCL, P stands for posterior, and then posterior of the knee, that's just a dedication of that ligaments posterior. Same thing with anterior ligament, ACL, anterior to the knee. And then we have the tibia and the fibula, the TCL and the FCL. And you can tell which side that is. So for example, where would the TCL be located within the body? Lateral, medial, anterior, posterior?
Medial.
The tibia?
Yeah, be on the left or
Yeah,
no,
medial.
it'd be
Medial.
on the medial.
See it on the side there?
Uh-huh.
Right here?
I saw the L.
So it'll be medial. So I'll make this a little simpler for y'all because I see some of your eyes glazing over on the slide. For now, just know that the knee is supported by those four ligaments. Know them by name and pick them out of a list. We're going to come back to this a year later in Jalen's class when we talk about arthrograms. And when we do contrast studies that actually look at these more close. So for now, just know them by name. We'll come back and revisit those a year from now.
So is it pronounced Cruciate.
Cruciate, yeah.
The meniscus, what is it like?
That's a cool name, cruciate.
So is that,
Sounds like Crucio from Harry Potter.
so when you tear your ACL, is that what it's talking about?
Say it again?
When you tear your ACL, is that what it's talking
Yes, it
about?
is.
Just tell me what's a meniscus.
What's a meniscus? Meniscus is like a little capsule that we're gonna look at. It sits on the tibial plateaus. But for now, worry about that a year from now. We're gonna come back to that in Red Pro 4. For now, just know these 4 ligaments are what supports the knee joint.
Usually massage therapist.
They do
Wait,
what?
what?
They rip it
They rip your meniscus out?
or fracture or whatever it's called.
What kind of massage therapist are you going to?
That's because, no, I'm saying because usually where I work, everybody who is a massage therapist, you're always talking about their meniscus.
Is it because they're standing a lot?
I don't know.
Probably because yeah, likely. They're probably rupturing
yeah, like
the
3 of them
meniscus.
have that.
They're probably
They're always
rupturing the
trying to get
meniscus.
workers' comp.
I'm walking a lot.
It's a great call-in excuse. It sounds fancy, right? Oh, I ruptured my meniscus. It sounds really serious.
Yeah, it does.
It's not that serious.
Oh.
It's a good excuse to call into work, right? For an ignorant boss that doesn't know anatomy.
Meniscus.
You got an ignorant boss that doesn't know human anatomy.
Crossing that one off.
That's how they get the workers'
Don't do that for your X-ray job because most of your bosses will know what a meniscus is.
comp. So,
You're like, yeah, okay, be here at 3 or just don't come in. Fine.
What type of joint was the knee again, guys?
The largest.
No, no, head.
I mean, it is the largest. But hands
It's a lot
joint.
of
Okay.
muscle.
Think of it like a door again. Alright, on to the next slide. So we go. So yes, it's cushioned and supported by the meniscus.
Menisci.
Menisci.
That's the plural. So that's what I was saying. They're little capsules. They're like little pillows. So think about people that have really bad knees. When the knee joint becomes deteriorated, we lose these menisci, and that padding's not there anymore, and the bone's grinding on the bone. So it's eroding the bone. So we need those menisci to stay intact. Just like with any joint, we want those synovial capsules to stay intact, kind of to cushion those joints and, not give us permanent injury. That's why people have to get total knee replacements sometimes. They lose all this in here, and that bone is just literally grinding on itself, and it's just losing maneuverability, and obviously very painful, very, very painful.
So for rickets, they just don't develop it because they have
Correct.
deficiencies? Okay.
Yeah. See rickets in a lot of pediatrics.
Osteomalacia. Yeah.
So just know those menisci are your knee cushions, knee pillows, knee bags, whatever works for you.
Is there anything else?
No, you can keep that part simple.
Alright, and we have the patella. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Usually you would think of the apex to be on top of the anatomy, but for this one it's reversed. So the apex would be found at the bottom of the patella where the point is. So wherever the point is, that's where the apex would be. That's something that can help you remember. And with the base on top. It's flat, just like a base, right? And this is the largest sesamoid bone found in the body.
What does it mean by most constant?
I was
Is it
hoping
just-
we all was gonna ask that, 'cause I was gonna
So
bring that up.
Everyone has it?
That means that everyone
Everyone
has
has
a kneecap, yes, has a patella.
Yeah, because you know how there's sesamoid bones in the feet? Not everybody has a similar sesamoid bones, correct? So, but everybody has a patella, or at least I think, I hope so,
Excluding amputees.
And they don't even form until 3 to 5 years of age. So what's really fun about doing x-rays on 2 years and young, you can see their knees without the patellas. And when they get to be 3, you can see the itty bitty little patella starting to form. It's like a little tiny seed on their knee. Yeah. That's pretty cool to see.
And if the patella was fractured into a star, what in the pathology would that be?
Stellar.
Stellar. So,
Let's go with the L's.
Stellar stars.
stellar star.
Very painful bone to fracture, by the way. The kneecap, as you can imagine. If you ever just hit your knee really hard, like for me, like I've hit my knee really hard a few times. It like knocks the air out of me, like takes my breath away, kind of thing. Almost like someone hit me in the solar plexus. You ever hit your knee that hard?
No,
That knocked the breath out of you? Boy, I have.
I cried maybe.
I was sitting down at the table, my mom pushed the table and like, you know how some tables have little like designs or something? And I was like,
Mm.
she's like, what happened?
often hit my knees at tables. Long leg problems. When you get up too fast, slam your knee on the table. Yeah. Sometimes being tall is not that great. Just saying. Get your head on stuff. Get your legs on stuff.
But you can reach things.
You can reach things, but you know, I hit my head on that. I used to hit my head on that X-ray tube all the time. I hit it so hard one time I was like seeing stars, like ran smack dab into it. Which is why I always put the tube so high, and everyone would get mad at me because all my other coworkers were shorter. So I'd always pull the tube all the way up high to get it out of my way, so I'd hit my head. But then they'd call me back in to pull it down for them because I went too high towards the ceiling.
And then this is an anatomy question. So where's the patella related to the femur?
Anterior.
Anterior.
Very
Okay,
good.
awesome. Good. So we're going to the next slide. Everybody good?
Apex points towards the knee.
Say that one more time.
Apex points down towards the tibia.
And on the slide it says towards the knee,
I mean,
like the joint.
I don't really like the wording of that, but technically yes. I mean, it sits on top of the knee, but it's pointing down more so towards the tibia. I don't really care for that wording there.
Yeah, so is the patella considered the knee, or do people not use the knee, or like what's the knee?
The patella is not the knee. The knee is the joint of the femur and the tibia. Yes, yes. The patella just sits on top of it all. So technically, when you say I hit my knee, you didn't really hit your knee. You hit your patella.
What is this called? Back of the knee?
That's a great question. It's called the popliteal surface.
Ooh.
What?
Popliteal.
Popliteal. That's a fun word.
That's a test question right there.
You have a popliteal artery and vein back there as well that they can use for checking pulse.
Okay, and then we're going to the largest bone in the body, the femur. And what is this considered? The long bone? Okay.
The longest.
The longest bone. Okay. And then it has a little medial slant of 5 to 15 degrees. If you remember that, kind of angle a little. That's why some of us are bow-legged, you know. Consists of the body. So we're gonna go over the anatomy. So this right here.
So for this one, Jalen, only focus on the distal portion. So we're gonna talk about the proximal in the next chapter.
Yeah, okay.
Gotcha.
So this is the body right here. And this is the angulation. This is what happens when you get a fancy build. They give you the angulation. Yeah, we didn't get none of that, so. And then this is the hardest part that people get confused with, so really focus attention. So we have the medial epicondyles and the medial condyles. Now these look very similar, but the one with the E, epicondyles, is located most, it's on top of the superior, yeah, okay, superior of the condyles. So as soon as you see, if you follow the femur and it curves, that's the epicondyle.
These are almost kind of like two little corners right here. The little tips there are your epicondyles, and then it comes down and kind of becomes rounded at your condyles. And you'll see them a lot better on X-rays actually. And he brought up a great point about the angulation. Please know that that bone does slant medially by 50 degrees. Your femur does not go straight up and down. It actually curves inward slightly. People don't realize that.
Emily raised her hand. Emily raised her hand.
Oh, yes, Emily. Thank you.
What is cylindric?
What is cylindric? So
Yeah.
that means, you know, like what the shape of a cylinder is? Kind of like a bottle, like that round shape, long round shape,
Yeah.
like a can. The femur,
Yeah.
the femur is long and circular. That's what cylindric means.
Oh.
And also know that it's convex interiorly as well.
No, it is convex.
It means it kind of caves in a little bit.
And if the patella was here, where would it be located on this image?
Below the
Patella surface.
Patella surface, yeah. Where that patella surface is, that's exactly where it'd be. And there's a joint that connects the patella and the femur together. Do we know what the name of the joint is? You can make a great guess. Keep going. Joint. There you go. Yeah. Anytime there's joints, when I doubt, get the two closest bones and try to make a name out of it. That's the best way. Mhm.
Is there cartilage in between? Yes. Yes.
Everybody get on the slide.
And by the way, you know, that's always the bone you see the caveman's walking around with in the cartoons when they're clubbing people on the head.
Cody.
It kind of looks like a club.
Doing like this with that.
It is the hardest bone.
Yeah, that's why it's the strongest bone. It makes a good weapon.
Exactly. Knock somebody out or dinosaur. So
So don't worry about the proximal. You can actually go
Okay.
past that. We'll come back to that. Don't worry about your proximal femur yet, guys. That's going to go with the hip chapter, the pelvis. Just focus on the distal portions.
are you moving up?
You can go on. Yeah. And keep going. There we
Okay,
go.
This is the one that we focus on, the distal femur. Bordered with two large eminence. So as you can see, we have the lateral epicondyles and then the lateral condyles. And the same thing on the other side, medial epicondyles and then medial condyles. So as you can see, the epicondyles will always be superior to the condyles. And if we're taking an X-ray, would this be considered an anterior or posterior shot?
Posterior.
Posterior shot. Get a question?
Yeah, so the abductor tubercle, why, like, what's the purpose of that, or like, why do we name it like that?
That's what the abductor ligament or tendon attaches to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You have an adductor tendon in the body. You actually do not need to know that as far as X-ray labeling goes. That's the one you can omit. That's a very niche piece of anatomy.
Because it'd be hard to differentiate between that and the medial.
If I'm pointing to that, I expect you to put medial epicondyle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And by the way, intercondylar fossa is going to look like an actual little hole in the middle of the knee there. When you look at it on an X-ray, it looks like a big round opening, as you can see there. So that sits above the intercondylar eminences, intercondylar fossa, or intercondylar. It has another name as well. It's escaping me. Stick with fossa for now.
And the fossa is just like a notch.
It's a deep depression.
Deep depression.
It's very sad.
Same.
But do y'all see how the epicondyles and the condyles separate? You can really see it from the posterior surface. See how the condyles are larger and more rounded, whereas the epicondyles sit just right above those and kind of becomes like a little edge. That's how it's going to look on the X-rays as well. And that's probably where people make the most mistakes on this anatomy in particular, is differentiating between epicondyles and condyles. So as a rule, guys, not just me, but with the registry, when they label epicondyles versus condyles, most of the time if your arrow is on the edge of the bone, it's epicondyle. If the arrow is on the actual central portion here, it's condyle. Does that make sense? Edge is epicondyle. In the middle of it is condyle. It's the easiest way to remember that.
And the F means around.
Huh?
So
Epi means around?
So that's how you can tell.
Yes.
The corners of two.
You said the regular condyle points where?
Oh, regular condyles, the arrows are going to be actually like more central in the
Okay.
middle of it here. Whereas the epicondyles, you're going to be on the edges.
yeah.
Yeah, you can really see it on that model that she's holding up back there. Those like two little rounded sections.
Condyles right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then also, so we need to know, is the medial condyle, like, more inferior?
Just slightly, but you do not need to know that.
Okay, okay.
Good observation, though. All right, future education rotation back here. We're teaching the class back there. Good job. By the way, guys, another indicator, as you can see on X-rays, because once again, people always mess up medial versus lateral. So we're looking at it like this, it'd be kind of difficult to figure that out, right? But what are you going to see on an X-ray? On a knee X-ray, you're not only going to see femur, but you're also going to see what? What's below it?
We went over.
Tibia.
Tib fib. So always look to the fibula. Whatever side the fibula's on is the lateral side. That should be the first thing you look at when you're labeling the knee X-ray. Where's my fibula at? That's my lateral side. That way you won't mix up medial versus lateral. Make sense? As you can see right, yeah, this image right here, guys, matter of fact, that you have in your packet. You'll see how the fibula is visible? So whatever side that's on, that's my lateral side. The what?
The Play-Doh.
What's the Play-Doh project gonna be?
Yeah.
Well, that remains to be seen. That's gonna be on Monday.
Have they done it? Have they done one yet?
They've done two of them so far. They're quite competitive. They hound me every day. Have you made a decision yet? You made a decision? Where's my bonus points? It's the mafia. They're gonna be breaking my fingers. Where are my bonus points at?
That's not, That's not.
Okay, so we're gonna do some anatomy labeling. So what would be number one?
Look at where the arrow is.
The lateral
Okay. And just like our Mr. Donahue said, if it's touching the edge of the knee, it'd be most likely the epicondyle. But if it was more like interior or medial, it'd be the condyle.
Like number 8?
Like number 8.
Number 8. So, what projection is this, first of all? AP what?
AP knee.
Okay, awesome. And then there's no markers on here. So, print out.
Yeah, it'll be alright.
Likely.
Like, most likely.
Likely.
And then number 2, what would 2 be? Enter.
It's our little mountains, remember? Our little hills.
Intercontinental eminence. Like, which, but you're not getting specific with it, right?
Intercontinental.
I almost said intercontinental.
No, we don't know the knee. There's no marker on here, so you can't really tell what knee it is.
It might be flipped.
It might be flipped, yeah. So. The knee.
That's the importance of markers, guys.
Intercontinental eminence.
Yes.
Yeah.
They pretty much gonna get the two.
Basically, yeah, this is the two, yeah. And this is the one that it's pointing on. Is that the medial or lateral side? Lateral side. Because the.
But once again, you just need to know it as intercondylar eminence.
Great. And then 3. Lateral plateau, correct. Excellent. And then.
Oh, look what it's asking you for.
Name of joint.
Proximal tip.
Proximal tip fib joint.
Remember, yeah, proximal. Okay. And
So
then
what's an apex? If it was pointing to the tip of that fibula, yes, that would have been an apex.
So then number 5 is the head.
So another little cheat code on this, guys. If the arrow is on the edge, it's apex. If it's inside the rounded portion, it's head. If it's down here, it's neck. So apex, head, neck. See that?
And what type of joint is 4 pointing at? What type of joint is proximal tibial fibula?
Synarthrotic.
Synovial? And then what type of joint is the distal?
It's synarthrotic doesn't move? Is synarthrotic one that doesn't move? Or is it?
Amphiarthrotic or distal. Proximal is diarthrotic. Distal is amphiarthrotic.
Yeah, oh, that's what I was getting confused.
And then 5.
Synovial.
Correct. 6.
Patella. Superior aspect of the
Just patella.
Patella.
If the arrow was on the top of it though,
base.
the base, if it was on the points, apex.
Correct. Then 7. Remember where it's pointing at, or how it's pointing?
Medial.
That's the medial epicondyle.
Epicondyle?
Yes, epi.
Correct.
Epi.
And then 8.
Medial condyle.
Medial condyle.
So once again, look to the arrows, guys. You'll see how, you see where those arrows are pointing for epicondyle versus condyle?
So outer is epi.
Yes. And then once again, look to the fibula for the side. Fibula is always lateral side, tibia is always medial side.
Correct. And then number 9. Think of it. So it's like
That's a good one.
it's like a
It's a
little hole,
fossa.
right? What is that? A fossa?
Patella.
Okay, look at the anatomy. What's this again?
Intercondylar fossa.
There you go.
So yeah, so you have your eminence here, guys. There's your little mountains. The actual hole is the fossa. So intercondylar eminence, intercondylar fossa. Flatlands, your hilly lands. Flatlands and your mountains.
And then number 10. Medial plateau, correct. And then 11.
not.
Think about the outer edges of something, kind of like with the femur we just named.
Condyles are on the top of the finger.
The head, the neck.
No, this one's on the apex.
So I would say the arrow would be better off being kind of on the edge here, but it still kind of applies. So, what's the edge of these called? So this would be the. It's in your book. It's in your book. We just went over it.
What are we asking about?
Tuberosity? I don't know.
The tuberosity would be more center. Be right here.
Look it up in your book. It's there for a reason. What's the size of the tibia called on the proximal end? Very similar to the femur.
No, no.
Malleolus is on the.
Yeah, that's on the ankle.
And pterotypical is on the distal part.
Yeah. Y'all looking at your book? Is it in your book? Let me make sure it's in your book. Yeah. You don't see it?
I see it, but I don't know if I said it. I don't know, it can't be the medial condyle.
Thank you. Medial condyle.
Oh, it
Medial
is?
condyle. So the tibia has condyles as well, guys.
I don't like
Medial
that.
condyle, lateral condyle. Just like the femur, medial condyle, lateral condyle. But for the tibia, it goes to the whole area. There's only condyles, there's not epicondyles in the tibia. Femur has epicondyles and condyles. So for femur, outer edge is epi, inner condyle. For the tibia, medial condyle, lateral condyle. All right? Write that down. Write that down. Don't forget that. Those are easy to miss. So y'all remember how we had some point wars last time on these boxes? And y'all see how small these boxes are going to be for this one, on some of this stuff. When I say we've got to work on accuracy, we've got to work on accuracy. When I'm looking for intercondylar eminence, guys, I'm not going to have this box all open like this. I mean, it's going to be pretty narrow because we have to be accurate.
So we put on points, or how you want us to do it?
We're going to practice. We're going to
Okay.
practice. You know, the flat toes, more like a little thin horizontal box. The epis, you're going to follow the edge. Yeah.
Whenever we practice, can you go ahead and give us like an actual like exam or
Consider doing that. Like some practice, like a practice where you can actually take. I consider doing that. Would that help? That would help. Jalen, we got some homework.
Sure do. I'm gonna make it extra hard.
Your student have-
Don't be like Anthony.
Don't be like Anthony.
Do that man in the buns.
Look, by the way, guys, look at how much stuff we can label in this one image. We do tib fib x-rays, which encompasses the knee to the ankle. Everything we just talked about. A lot of stuff we can label in these images.
Is it?
Where are you going?
I was just making sure it wasn't like stretched out.
Yeah.
Okay, so she said she got it, so.
Oh wait, no wait.
Nah, you said it, so. I'm gonna give you a what's B?
Oh no, I don't know.
B?
It's the body.
The body. The body of the tibia. We're gonna go in order, so I'm just go right here, go to that, next thing. Okay, so you first. So what's A?
You heard that?
It's the head of the
A.
or the A is the fibia, is the
We just went over it.
epicondylar.
No, epicondyles are only found on the femur.
What side is that?
So it is
Medial condyle of the tibia.
medial condyle.
So it's on the medial side, on the tibia, the condyle, okay? Okay, Jay, so J for J.
That is the intercondylar eminence.
Yes, E, correct.
B.
So that's a great point to bring up, Jay. Jay asks, could B be the anterior crest of the tibia? No, actually. So on an X-ray, we're just going to refer to that as the body. If we're looking at a model, though, yes, we can see the crest and actually label it. You cannot see the crest on an X-ray.
Like the deltoid
Why is
tuberosity.
that? What is it doing? Like, can you see? Superimpose, correct. And then I. The next.
Lateral condyle
Of what?
the tibia.
We got two lateral condyles.
Oh,
up there.
proximal tibia.
Very specific. Yes.
Hold on.
Good stuff.
Alright, Shameka.
We have H.
That's pointing to a joint.
Why'd you freeze like that?
Because I thought they were gonna go somewhere else. That's the joint you said, tibular joint?
Which one?
Which one? Remember this two.
Oh, proximal.
There you go.
I was like,
And is this the freely movable or the slightly movable?
To be more
free
specific,
movable.
the right.
And be careful, guys, because this image, we can see both of those now. Make sure when you read that question, am I looking for the proximal or the distal? And an easy point to throw away if we don't look at that wording carefully.
We have X
so
and G.
that's the head of the fibula.
Okay. And then F.
Cement.
Oh, yes,
F.
that is going to be,
It's right below the head.
oh, the neck,
There you
yes.
go.
There you go. Head, neck, last one. Neck of the what? You said a bone, I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Apologies.
that is going to be the, let me see,
What
slide.
bone is this?
The fibula,
Yes, correct. Good job.
yep,
Mr. Cody,
Mr. Cody.
Body as a figure.
body of the fibula. Alright.
Or shaft.
Chef. And then, what's our check? We're gonna do D. Say that one more time.
There's no base on the
No
fibula.
base. No base.
There we can palpate though on each side.
So we set it up for ankle.
Okay, the lateral malleolus.
There you go.
Lateral malleolus.
So
Okay.
there's no base.
No base for that one. It's fine. And then we got C right here.
Medial malleolus.
Medial malleolus. Okay. Now what's R?
That's a hard one.
Blank space.
What's it even pointing to?
Yeah, blank space,
Blank
negative
space.
space.
Blank space. Okay, that's everything.
Air.
Air. So that's everything on this, right? Okay. So we'll go on to the next one. So what's A?
It's a little nice dotted line for you. You usually can't see that in the lateral, but they outlined it for you on that one.
This one a little hard.
It shares the pointer on letter letter J on the other image.
Intercongruent.
So is that the, is that like superimposed? No.
That's the intercondylar
That's
eminence.
the mountain.
From the lateral view. Typically you cannot see it, but they outlined it for you on that one.
But it would be superimposed, right?
They would be
Yeah.
superimposed, yes. Yes.
And you can just kind of tell it's sitting right on top of the tibia. You know, that's the only anatomy that we really have, or the fossa. But you can't see the fossa from the lateral side.
So if they point to A without those dotted lines, would that be like the joint or that?
Pretty sure they specify. They really said landmark or joint
Yeah.
space.
Good question.
So yeah, definitely read that because they can trick you saying joint space, but you can be thinking of landmark, and that's a free easy question that you missed. So always read what they're asking for.
So I'm gonna wrap it up here and just go through the rest of these real quick, guys. We'll pick up on the rest of this on Monday because I gotta get on a conference call here. B is gonna be that tuberosity of the tibia, which you can only see in the lateral view. You cannot see it on the inter,
It
huh?
was her turn, she said.
Who?
Reagan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Took it away.
You wanna do C?
No,
C is the shaft of the body of the tibia. D is shaft of the body of the fibula. Letter E is basically showing you those two malleoli superimposed. You cannot see that either on a lateral, but they give you those nice little dotted lines. So E is showing you the medial malleolus, F is showing you the lateral malleolus. Don't worry, you typically cannot see those on lateral x-ray, only on your APs and obliques. As we'll see as we go through more of these. So good job, Jalen. Great job for your first sermon today. Yeah.
How would you rate
E and
us?
F?
Y'all are really
Alex?
nice class. I appreciate y'all. Y'all very interactive.
Could be, yes.
Y'all don't sleep like me, so.
So on Monday, guys, we are going to do our next Play-Doh project. So if you need to bring any more, please do so. Lots of interesting anatomy to create for this challenge.
I think we should.
So looking forward to that.
We'll
We'll
bring
also
some more.
review your worksheets on Monday as well to make sure you have all the correct answers before we start moving on towards positioning.
I'm gonna have those made already, I'm just gonna take them out my bathroom.
But that'll do it for today, guys. Thank y'all. I don't see you again. Have a fantastic weekend. Good job, Jalen.
Are we making a light size? That's gonna be a lot of things.
Maybe extra points. I can bring some metal. We can use it to shape and just wrap the Play-Doh around.
The anatomy sheets to practice on?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
The what?
The anatomy sheets.
Update me on the
Answers?
loofahs when you get
No,
them
no, no,
going.
just like
Sure will.
so we can print it.
Oh.
Cause I already write it down. Then
All right, you want to leave the lights
to.
out? You want them on? Leave them off.
So it's better.
We're already real X-ray techs. You
Take
like
the
to work in the
blank
dark?
one and then start.
Again? So
Right.
there's a website that you can find, which you gives you the word.
Whoa,
It's
water.
kind of like the
Who are you?
test.
I had two coffees, so.